Hi, this is TQ. Thanks for coming in with us. We're here today with Matt and Janette again, and we followed them through their engagement period right after they got engaged, saw them get together at the airport after a long time out of town, got the chance to meet their family, and then get to see them all the way through the wedding, exchanging vows and becoming one. Now they're 6 months into being married. Let's check in and see how they're doing. So, we're here with Matt and Janette. Check up on them after the 6 months of getting married, and if we could rewind the clock past your early marital bliss to just right there when you're up on the stage, and you walk up through all of the Coming to America Lollapalooza that y'all had going on, and then you see each other and you're there getting ready to get married. What kind of thoughts, Matt, were going through your mind at the time? What were you feeling whenever that was happening?
Man, my heart was about jumping out my chest. I was super excited when I saw her walk down. So I was super excited.
What was the first thing you thought whenever you saw her?
Man, she's beautiful. I was and then this is the time where she actually becomes my wife. So that was super exciting.
Almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And Janette, yeah. What were you feeling like?
I was like, thank you, Lord. Everything looks like I would like it to look.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. I think just knowing the confidence of just knowing that he would surely be there, and just really just being able to have that one connection that we did eye to eye, yeah, we're really about to do this right now. It's been a long time coming, but we're really about to do this. So it's for me, it was just a feeling of surety.
Okay.
I'm doing the right thing.
Okay. And Matt, the vows that Janette did, people have viewed them a lot. One thing people have said a bunch of times is, man, what can that dude be thinking during all what she's saying to him, feeling that emotion coming through with all the things Janette was saying? What was going through your mind while the vows were going on?
This is so real. This is so authentic. And I'm thankful that her vows were her vows, and that she stayed true to who she is instead of trying to do somebody say something that other people want her to say, instead of who she really is and who she truly is and what our journey truly has been and what it will be in the future. And so very thankful and very appreciative for that.
And I remind him of his vows every I vow to die. Remember you said you were going to die in the vows? Now's the moment. We have a disagreement, so vow to die.
That's real.
Yeah, real life.
Now let me ask you, what was your favorite line in her vows?
It probably was when she was talking about, when she punches me with her words, and that really got me, because it's just words do hurt. And so it's just how do you stay consistent as a leader, when different things happen or when different things are going on. And so that's probably my favorite part.
Okay, well, that's good. Matt, what would you say your advice is to women of God who are seeking to be in godly relationships, but they aren't domestic, they can't cook, they can't clean? Now, before you answer that question, learn to cook. That's what I'm going to say, okay? And learn to clean, man, all right? Don't nobody want no stank house. And the brother ain't going to be doing it the whole time. But anyway, I'll let you, what do you have to say to women that aren't domestic?
Be domestic.
He's saying this, but this is the brother who washes clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the brother who washes the dishes.
Yeah.
This is the brother, I think, he's saying that, but when it comes to make sure we define domestic.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Domestic means they cannot cook. They don't know how to or like to clean. You can't be a good
team player if you can't,
Because at the same time, a marriage is a team thing. So even say for example, she gets pregnant, she can't do a lot. So it's I don't know how to cook, but it's I'm gonna find some stuff. I'm gonna learn how to do something. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't be without food.
You hold that barbecue chicken down, no love. You do. I appreciate that.
All right, okay.
Barbecue sauce. That's it. Hey, barbecue chicken. What's up?
So you're right.
And that's exactly what it is. And I'm grateful.
Good, as you should be. Now, let me ask this: what would each of you say is your favorite part about being married? Janette, let's start with you. What's your favorite thing about being married?
Favorite thing about being married to him is that knowing that every day we both have the same thought process and thought pattern, so even when things don't feel we don't have all the income we specifically want right now, we don't have we can both look at each other and be look, our needs are taken care of. The fact that we're on one accord, that's the coolest thing to me, that we're really sincerely one. I was wow, we really are one.
Matthew, what's your favorite thing about being married?
My favorite thing, I'd probably say that like she's my wife, like and everything that means. So it's like in different ways where like she is the helper that God has chosen for me. And so it's like I can go through list upon list of different ways in which like she is that helper for me. Like if literally it was somebody else, it'll probably drive me crazy.
What's the biggest adjustment you've had to make as newlyweds? And what advice would you give to other couples who are engaged and they're kind of getting ready to be married? So what's that number one adjustment you've had to make? Matt, we can start with you.
She's my wife, so it's like ain't no restrictions no more. So it's like kind of all the stuff through our dating, courting, all that kind of stuff is like off limits. No, she's my wife. So I guess that is for me in my mind. Like as a man, like that's the biggest adjustment. Like no, she's my wife.
Okay.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
For me, it has been just waking up to somebody actually being there every day.
Yeah.
So he's a very chipper person in the morning. Like he wakes up sometimes 5, 4, 6. You know, that's him, and he like has to force himself to lay there. I'm more of like the stay up at night, wake up late.
Yeah.
So like the obligation to say good morning very early, like that's an adjustment. Like the asking, like, are you awake? You just asked me, am I awake? So apparently I am woke now because you just asked me, am I awake? So, you know, it's little things. It's why does he have a cup with nothing in it in the refrigerator? But it makes sense to him because the cup is cold. So the cup is cold when I put the juice is already cold, Matt. No, but it's like, it's cold. I'm like, okay, so that makes sense to you. So it's little things that are adjustments, like as far as like, okay, so your dirty clothes this is where you think you should have like this. It makes sense to him. Like so it's just adjusting to those little things, but also too like just the disagreements over small things. Like and it's just like for me the hugest adjustment was like the first night I was there and I was sitting at the door like I want to go home, but I had to realize this is my home.
Right.
Because I was like we had gotten a disagreement. I couldn't tell him to leave. Like I'm like hold on, like you're still and it made me mad because he was asleep, content. Like it wasn't bothering him. Like I was hot in the living room by the door like. So it was an adjustment to realize like no, we actually have to work this out. Like I can't just not talk to him for 3 days now and come back when I'm ready.
I'll tell you what though, the cold glass does make a difference. I mean, it keeps the drink extra cold. It keeps it extra cold.
Thank you.
And you don't want warm. Who want warm orange juice?
Exactly.
You know, and if it's
that's what goes in that cup. Orange juice. Orange juice. That's it. Orange juice, apple juice. That's it.
I'm feeling you.
Thank you.
I'm feeling you.
Thank you.
Well, Matt, you mentioned something that's kind of a touchier subject that Christians don't normally talk about, but you know at P4CM we're known for not avoiding any subject. But I do think the last thing I remember you saying on your Wait Is Over video at the wedding day was that it was time for that active worship.
The wait is over. And now we're about to go worship actively.
Ringed up.
And for those who don't know, that means everything you couldn't do during your courtship, y'all was about to do as soon as you got the limo. Maybe even once you was in the limo, the active worship had begun.
Right.
What people get nervous about is making that difference. Now, they didn't kill the sin. They heard that in the first 5 episodes. Now, at this point, they wondering what's the shift like to make it over to that now you married time.
The shift is beautiful because of the fact that you made it. So it's the fact that you actually were able to stay pure during that time, because it's like it wouldn't even be the same thing if you didn't stay pure. It'd be like, oh, well, I was already doing this beforehand. Oh, you may not kiss your bride. Oh, I've been kissing my girl. What you talking about?
Yeah.
You may now, it's like, now this is your wife. We already been doing marriage stuff. So for us, it was like the reward was beautiful on that side because of the fact of all those restrictions as far as living the way that the Lord said. And so he blessed us.
Like I think that just society has made it such a huge deal, whether that's in Christianity or whatever the case may be. Like they make that the huge end all be all. Like, oh my gosh, and it is a great, wonderful thing. There is still a side to it, because I think that yes, it's beautiful, it's great, but I have a history of abuse, so there are still things that are still hard for us, because like he has to specifically be mindful of so many different things. It's like, oh, don't do that, please don't, because this is going to make me think about this. And so there are things that people have gone through where it's just like you have to be you don't have to be, what I would recommend is just to be mindful and have real conversations about serious things that have happened, and different things that you be able to have conversations about what you like, what you don't like, because sometimes people will just truck through things that they don't like just because they think that's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know, and so yes, there's the beautiful side of it, but there's still different things that are difficult for us even in that side of it because of things that I have been through. So for me, I'm just grateful that I'm with somebody who's extremely, extremely patient.
Yeah.
You know, just even for me, just like, okay, Lord, I had to really pray. For me, I was terrified on certain things because I was like, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen once this takes place.
Right.
In my mind, I want to be like, yeah, like I'm a mom, wife, I'm killing the game. Like I want that. But at the same time, the reality was and still is like there's a lot that's in there that that really got resurfaced because of the things that are able to transpire now. And so for us, it's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, there are times where it's extremely, extremely difficult. Yeah. So it takes a man that is extremely patient to kind of not go into, selfish moments and be like, man, we married now. Man, we supposed to be doing this. Man, we supposed to be doing that. Like, and to make me feel inadequate or not fulfilling my responsibilities as a wife or those type of things. So there are a lot of conversations we've had to have even along that subject matter.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's very good. And I think it hits a lot of topics that people are really concerned about, especially for those trying to hold themselves. You don't know what's coming, so it's good to think about it in a way that's healthy.
Who did mess up, like I encourage you, I encourage you to get in that word and stop. Like I don't want it to seem like
it's
because we didn't mess up, like you won't enjoy the reward of no, like you can stop now. God's forgiveness is real, and you can really just seek after Him and get to that point to where you gotta say, hey, like we want to honor God, and God will still reward you.
Yeah. Amen. Is there anything you would change about your courtship? And if there is, what would it be?
I'll make it quicker. We had that mug over like that.
All right. So
that's my thing that I changed. I make that mug fast. I would make that mug fast.
Okay.
Like I would. Oh my goodness.
Show you right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of. I told somebody else, I was like, I equated kind of with salvation because it's like once you get saved, it's like, man, I wish I was saved earlier.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the same sort of thing for me. It's just like, why didn't this happen earlier? And so that's kind of, I made that courtship quicker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would keep it the same because I honestly, I needed everything that occurred in the context of what we went through. It was hard. It was really, really hard. I know it was probably harder for him. But the things that we went through, the tears, the fact that like I was a hard person to be with and he was still there for the length of time that he was, helped show me like, hey, like he's not going anywhere. Like you can trust him. Like you can place your heart in his hands. It's going to be okay. So I would say I would definitely keep it the same. Like if I could change anything, like I would definitely make attempts to probably trust a little more. Maybe sooner and things like that, but I'm appreciative for all the every brick off the Great Wall of China that he chose to take down one by one.
Right, and it was a lot of bricks.
It was a lot of bricks.
Let me ask you this: since the wedding, you guys have such a public, Janette has a public life, and you started to be more active on social media. Since your relationship is such a big deal and so important to so many people, has it been difficult maintaining privacy?
I say that's more of a question for you.
No, I don't. For me, it's not. I think they get what we share. I think if we, because honestly, like when him and I want to share something about the relationship, we both look at our phones and like, hey, what do you think about this? Are you cool with this? I think if we just post it individually, even randomly, like, hey, I'm just gonna put this and put that and put this, and I don't know how he necessarily feels about it, or he doesn't know how I feel about it. I think that would present problems. But usually, before he makes a post about me or I make a post about him, like, hey, are you cool with this? Is there anything that I said that that you're not okay with? Are you okay with that? And so I think because we do that and we run it by each other, I think it's cool. Of course we have those posts where like I'm far away and he's just loving on me. I don't mind that. You know what I'm saying?
Keep that coming.
But even for things that I'm gonna post that that may just be about the Lord, it's like, hey, can you just go over this and make sure? Because sometimes I have a heart to say the right thing, but I need another set of eyes, and it's like, hey, this may get taken this way if you say it like that. It's a little sharp. Why don't you try to word it a little bit differently? So I think because we do that, I think it's cool, and we want to share as much as we possibly can. But there are certain things we got to keep on reserve as well.
Why do you think your relationship has resonated and meant so much to so many people?
We just seek to try and live as biblical as possible. And it's like, since we live like that, I think the Lord is rewarding it this way. We're not in control of it. We can't make people follow us or more people follow us. We can't make people stop following. So it's just like, we just seek to live biblically. And I guess people see that.
What do you have to say to people who they sort of rely on your marriage and your ministry to keep their hope alive regarding dating, waiting? Because I like at P4CM, we study our community to see how things are resonating with them. And when we look through the comments, it's like people are like, oh man, that helps keep me waiting, or I'm 17 and that gives me hope that I can have the right kind of marriage, or I've been hurt in the past, or I've been waiting on this person, I've been waiting for someone, and now you're giving me hope that can actually be true, or I'm looking for a wife like that or a husband like that. What do you have to say to the people that are kind of relying on you guys' ministry, your marriage and your ministry, for hope in their lives?
Yeah, I think on two ends, I think we're really appreciative that God would even choose to use two whack people, and that people would even say that in regards to us. I would say don't rely on it, but I would say that we're grateful, but it's also extremely even all the more challenging, because a lot of times like it's like we'll have disagreements and he'll be like, you know what I'm saying, like, would you say that, like, if this person or that person that you mentor, if you say that, like, if the people, like, if your followers would say, would you say that, like, to me in the like if we're having a disagreement, would you say that like that? And I was like, you know what I'm saying, like, in the disagreement, like, yes I would, but like in my heart I'm like, man, I wouldn't say it like that, like so it's just like, man, okay, like it's important, it's great, but it is a lot of pressure. Because I think the Lord has entrusted us with something, but I think that we have a responsibility with what He's entrusted us with, and again, we have to give an account to the Lord for how we do everything we do and how we say everything we say and how we live. So it's wonderful, but it's a reverential fear. I'll say it like that, a reverential fear, because it is the Lord who we ultimately serve and ultimately revere. So it's just like, okay, Lord, like, and the one thing we're just saying, like, okay, Lord, just do what you're doing. Just do what you're doing, whether that's, like, in front of people or not in front of people. And so the goal is to continue to encourage people. And it warms my heart when people, like, make those comments. It warms my heart. You know, I think one comment recently impacted me very heavily, because it was talking about, this young lady was talking about how, you know, she's viewed as difficult. She's viewed as someone who's hard or broken. And thank you for letting me know that there is somebody that's willing to love the damaged one, or the one that somebody, I used to tell him I refer to myself as the dented can on the shelf. Like, the one that people push to the side and look for a better one. And so that made me, like, really, like, tears really was in my eyes, because it's like, that's how I viewed myself, for people to know that there is a possibility, you know, there is a possibility that, you know, that there are actually men of God who are willing, because it's like the display that's put out there is like there's no good men, and that's not the reality. There are a lot of good men, but at the same time, you have to go through good men, and then good men who are willing to endure, and then good men who are still willing to endure, and the good men who are not going to receive anything back for a long time and still willing to endure. And so,
and then your own changes you had to go through yourself. And then your own
changes, yeah. So,
no, that's good. That's awesome. Now, on the practical real talk night, in your date night episode, you guys talked about having to eat, you know, off-brand hot dog buns and in order to sacrifice for the wedding. But it kind of brings up a good point. How does money play in your relationship? How does money have an impact on marriage?
Money is kind of what you make it. So if money is everything, like having certain types of quality of things is everything, then it will be everything. And that will be what you fight about. That will be what you argue about. If you seek to spend money on yourself, but then you get into a marriage and you still want to spend money on yourself, then that's your heart. That's in the end, that's like a heart issue. So
can you talk about how as far as like the difficulty you had as far as like the whole provision thing and the struggle? I think that's like really, that was hard for us.
Yeah. So the main thing for me is like.
So what's the provision thing? Let's hear about it.
The provision thing is me graduating from seminary, and even continuing in the program, knowing that being African American, I wouldn't get placed in the church. Because no African Americans don't get placed from the school that I went to, and for the most part, African Americans look down upon the school that I went to. So it's in getting married right after I graduated from school. It's like, what am I gonna do? I have this degree. I can go to school, be a teacher. I can go to school, be an administrator. I can go and do those things for work. But the Lord placed on my heart something else, which was complete full-time ministry. And I'm saying in my head, you need money to do that. You need people giving. You need support in order to do that. And literally, it was probably like 2, 3, 4 nights where literally I'm sitting there pouring my heart out to her, just crying like, this does not feel good as a man to not have money to say, no, this is what we are doing. Like, this is what we're going to be doing. And the thing is like, God always provided. Like, literally, we have not had a night where we have not had food. There has not been not one night. And it's not that we just haven't had food, but we've been able to choose what it is we want to eat. And it's like, God continues to provide. He has always and will always provide. And so the thing for that Janette actually shared with me, like she has been like the best help in this way, in encouraging me to say, Matt, like, you're not the provider, God is. And so it's in different ways that other people would just, like, the Lord placed it on their heart to give us something. The Lord placed it on their heart to give us something. The Lord would send a check in the mail that we were not expecting. And it's just like, God is our provider. When he sees fit to bless you with more, and we're going to be good stewards over it, then that's what he would choose to do. But he chooses how we get the income that we have.
I think too, like, the thing was, like, I asked him, is like, do you believe that you are where you're supposed to be? Because he would come back and tell me testimonies about on the track, and like how people were now asking him more questions about the Lord, and that would excite me. And I'm like, I mean, we'll be ride or die right here if souls are being saved. Like, that's the most. That was your heart for ministry. Do you believe you are where you're supposed to be? If you're there, then there's no argument there, you know. Like, and so I think that it must be hard to hold multiple degrees and know that you can make a certain amount of money. But I think that, you know, that's gonna reign true. How our heart is now is gonna reign true even later, should God change the situation and we have a different financial situation.
Yeah, no, I can relate. I have a master's degree, but I'm a stay-at-home dad. So sometimes, you know, my wife will ask me, should I get this? And I'm like, well, you making the money, girl. I mean, you can get what you want to get. You know what I'm saying? But you do feel like a man if you could do more things. But it's important early on to understand what you're talking about right there. And I think a lot of people want to hear like, oh man, y'all fight over money, this and that. But that's not the message. The message is what y'all are saying. Like, if you don't trust that God is your provider, then no amount of money will be enough. Ever
it never will be enough, because you're always going to have more. I need this, but I need this. I need this. And all of those are wants. Yeah. And you just want more, and you want more, and want more.
So people want to know that they know you guys are super Christians, the tightest Christians in the world. Do you guys pray and or study together every day?
No.
And she beats me up about it. So she's been beating me up because she's saying, when we going to start our study? Because my main thing is literally, like, this is what I do. Like, I do this all day. And so she's like, okay, when are we going to start our study? Because we started one earlier when we first got married. And it was like, okay, we're going to be doing this every day. We're going to be doing this. And we're going to be praying together. And then, like, I started feeling like the bad guy, because it was like, all right, we're about to do this. And it's like, or I get like a sigh, I get something, I'm like, we don't have to, like, I'm not making you.
It's like, it was overwhelming at first. It's like, because it's like, I'm having to study with him and I'm still trying to have time alone with the Lord, and then it's just like, I'm like, okay, like, can I watch an episode of Martin right quick? Like, you know what I'm saying? Can we watch Netflix? Is that okay? Yeah, I don't think Jesus is going to be mad if we watch Netflix tonight. I think it would be okay if we just eat this food
one episode
and watch Netflix. So I was like, can we? So then he just retracted all the way. I'm like, I still want the knowledge though. Like, come on, sensei.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, man, like, we're just learning balance. I mean, I think that's part of figuring it all out, like learning each other and him being willing, still being willing, like not being offended if I'm not initiating it or if I'm not asking. Because I'm like, oh, but so you gonna help them? For real? You gonna help her too? Okay.
And it's a challenge. Y'all didn't have kids yet. When that comes, it gets even harder. Yeah. So I think it's just do the best you can to find a rhythm, like you said. What signs have you seen to know that the person you married is from God?
So I'm a quick person. So if there's a disagreement, I'm like, let's work this out. Let's be solution oriented. How are we gonna work this thing out? Like, let's talk about it right now. She's not. I knew that she was the one. I think it was one of the first times where we had like a really big disagreement, and I was thinking in my head like, all right, this is a wrap. Like, I'm out of here. This is the time for me to check out. She doesn't process the same way as me. So for her, it's not, let me resolve this situation quickly. It's, no, let me sit with this. Let me process. Let me have my own time. And then I'll come back ready to actually have something to contribute to a conversation. I didn't take it that way. I took it as her putting it on the back burner. It's not important enough for her. And so that in a real sense, that was me judging her and judging the way that she does things, because she doesn't do them like I do them. And so it was the Lord convicting me about that. I was like, nah, she the one. Like, she really cares about these things that I'm talking about, so much so that she actually gives it serious thought. Like, it's not like some quick thing. I mean, even with our engagement, where it wasn't just like a quick yes. It wasn't. It's like I didn't get anything. Like 24 hours, 32 hours.
It was on 32.
The hours was. I was counting the hours. There was a lot.
He probably
of hours.
got in his journal. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that really was for me solidifying, even before the engagement, before we're married. Like, that's when I was like, this is the one. Like, she's worth all the energy that I'm investing in, like all the time, all the fighting, the it's ways that all the way,
the treacherous
the treacherous mountain that I had to climb. But she's worth all of that and more. So it was just like, that's when I knew that because she actually cared.
Do you think that God has a person for you? Yes or no? Okay.
I do.
So like, and if you like, you just miss them, you out of luck kind of thing, or he's going to get them to you?
I don't think that there's anybody else in the world that would be willing to deal with, like, y'all have never really seen like the degree. Like, you've seen me do like strong poetry, but it's like multiplied times a million times one, like when it gets to a disagreement or a different thing. Like, and so for him to still be like, keep coming back and keep coming, like, I don't think there's not really anybody. They're like, you can be the dopest poet, whatever, I don't want to be with you. Like, so I believe that it's just, it was just and only, will always be only that one.
A lot of women out there, they believe that God gave them the list, you know, of the qualifications. What do you have to say to all the single ladies about they have, you know, who have the list?
Yeah, if the list it lines up with what, you know, what the Bible speaks about as far as like character of what a godly man is, then it's good. I think you should have, you know, a certain mindset. I don't think you should go into anything just blind, like whatever happens, happens. Like, no, I think you should have an understanding of what you desire based on what you see in Scripture. Now, when it comes to like, you know, I just if I put my heels on and I'm taller than him, it's a problem. Like, I mean, come on, like if Kevin Hart can get a girl that's taller than him, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, relax, like it's gonna be all right. I think that we get concerned about things that don't really matter in the end. Even for me, like I had some things that were just like non-negotiables for me. And I think that even, here's the thing, love on that man, right? If you love on this brother and you truly love on him, like he'll be willing to make some changes for you. But I had to learn, like, you can't go at it like, so you just not gonna get your hair retwisted, so your arm is ashy, your knuckle is white, you're this or that. So it's like, that doesn't really produce change.
Right.
You know, your hair. So, you know, I think that, you know, you can have certain desires, but I don't think that they should be like non-negotiables. Like, he's not tall enough, or he's not this, or he's not that, or, you know what I'm saying, his beard isn't full enough, or, you know, those type of things. And those are conversations that I have honestly had, you know, with different women. I think, I mean, thankfully, I mean, he fell into the chocolate bracket, but and everything thunderous about him.
Right.
But I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, even right now, like, he's training for track, so he had to lose a lot of weight. I like the other weight, you know. I like him a little bit more bulkier, but all the definition's still there. So we're still good.
Right.
But at the same time,
hey,
like,
ain't a woman watching now that think you have a problem with the physicality of the brother.
No. But at the same time, like, I tell him all the time, like, I'm like, your arm used to be so much tighter in this shirt. Like, what happened? You know. So, but at the same time, it doesn't. Like, I'm telling you, like, the way that this brother loves on me, like, that stuff, like, because anything can happen. Like, you got to be with somebody who y'all can get in a car accident and their face can be mutilated and you can still genuinely love them. And so I feel that way about him.
So, Matt, what would you say to the guy who's dealing with a situation where it's difficult to love a woman? Her guard's up. How do you encourage a person to keep pushing even when she's pushing you away?
Decide whether or not you're gonna be there, and if you're gonna be there, you're gonna be there. Because I think that's really where, I guess you would say, like, that needle move for me. So once that needle moved for me of, like, I'm not even thinking about the option of exit anymore. I'm not thinking about the option of, man, there are a lot of other women, I'm gonna go and try and find another one. When I took that out of my head as an option, it caused for me to actually see the different pains and different hurts and the ways that they resurface themselves, and I can either by God's grace and by his help, like, be a healer. Because I mean, with what a husband is called to do and loving his wife like Christ loves the church, that is a very, very high calling. If a husband understands that, then he understands what his responsibility is. But if a husband or a potential husband does not understand the high calling that he has as a Christian husband, then he just needs to leave whatever young lady, whatever woman it is that he's desiring, wants to pursue. He needs to leave her alone, because there's going to be a lot of times where things don't go your way. But how do you respond as a leader when those things don't go according to your scripted plan? That's what I learned. I learned a lot about myself and my own sin in being gracious towards Janette, because that's the same way that God is towards us. He doesn't hold things over our head. He doesn't pick on us. He doesn't. He loves without reserve, completely without reserve, and that's what that husband is called to do.
You took some notes about that and about the whole experience during your courtship. Why don't you tell us what that was about and maybe share some things from there? And as a matter of fact, has Janette ever even heard any of this or seen this stuff before?
Janette hasn't ever heard or seen, unless
She been sneaking the
Yeah,
pink.
she's trying to
We ain't
steal
got that
stuff.
kind of relationship.
But yeah, she's never.
I remember him bringing this to, like, when he first approached me. I remember seeing that book. Like, he's like, I've been taking notes, but you ain't gonna see that right now. I was just like, okay, like, that sounds a little stalkish. I'm taking notes on you.
That's because I'm prepared.
Right. Well, why don't you? What's something that you like to share with us?
I'm gonna say, why her?
Exactly, literally.
Three question
That's like, it literally has her name at the top, and it says, and that's underlined, and it says, why her? 3 question marks. Like,
Got it.
and so it's like, okay, like if I'm saying her, like, okay, like let me either confirm or deconfirm in my mind why I'm saying her.
So what's number 18?
Number 18 is so I put this is
Just read it, bruh.
I gotta let people know. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk like this all the time, but it's just, you know what I'm saying, this is me talking to myself. So number 18 is just she got a passion for the hood. I knew that my potential wife had to have that because I knew how my passion burned for the hood, being from the hood and seeing all the different things that hood inner city people don't get. They don't even get an opportunity at. And that was one of the most important things for me because I knew that if I were to get with a person who didn't have a passion for the hood, they would see that as kind of like, I guess, like a downfall or a bad thing about me. And then the things that I would want to do for the inner city, she wouldn't be able to get behind because she doesn't care. And so I knew that when I found that out about her and the dance studio that her and her best friend own down in Long Beach and what they do down there, I knew that was that she definitely had that characteristic, and it definitely meant a lot to me. Okay, now this one will be like one that probably won't be funny, but it'll be cool. Number 26. Her childhood is one that would enable her to receive all of the love that I have built up to issue out. And number 26 is actually a special one for me. Because I was talking to 2 of the older women from the church that I attend, and they would always come up to me and they were like, "Are you looking for a wife yet? Are you looking for a wife yet?" And I was like, "I'm looking, I'm searching." They're like, "Because you are a young man who's ready for a wife. Like you just like have this overflow of love that you just want to give to a wife." That kind of put into my mind like, wow, like Lord, like what are you preparing me for? Like you have me. With this level of vulnerability to just like pour love, and and it was weird in a sense because it's just like nobody from the hood does that. Like somebody offends you, somebody does something wrong to you. It's like either you go back for retaliation or you just cut that person off. And so, yeah, I really. That's something that was really special.
It really has been a good time talking to you guys, man. I'm sure everyone has enjoyed catching up with you. Are there what would you like to say in terms of what you look forward to in the next 6 months and even in the rest of your time married together? What kind of things would you like to finish it out with? Janette, why don't you start first, please?
I'm looking forward to watching him run races. I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to just being able to be like we always talk about, like especially like when disagreements we say same team, remember, like same team, even though I reject that a lot of times. But you know, it's fun to travel and to be able to go out and minister the gospel. Like that's great. But at the same time, like I really, really enjoy being a wife, and I really look forward to being able to support and be there and to let thoroughly any other women on the track know that he has a wife present in the stands that is thorough. That has never mind.
Yeah, you can show them the power clean.
No, not today. But no, we can touch and disagree. No, no. I'm really looking forward to just being able to support and like being able to watch him do different things and watching him grow, and I'll just look forward to. I mean, forget 6 months. I look forward to life and all the ways that we think it's gonna go and the curveballs that the Lord throws. So
yes.
I look forward to it, and I don't know. Like I think that. It's been rough. Like I think we've had a lot of different things at us. Even with losing my grandmother, like it's been rough for us for the beginning of our marriage. And I think a lot of people say that, like people say like the beginning stage of marriage. No, like they're not lying to you at all. Not in the slightest bit. Like I think that we should just be way more candid about how rough it really is. And maybe it may just be rougher for us, but it's been rough. But at the end of the day, like I think he's really good about not letting a situation just sit and letting me stew and just kind of just stay in my own little angry space. Like, so I look forward to, being able to, because I think we grow, every time we come up out of one of those disagreements. And that's the only beneficial thing about having the disagreement is like, okay, we learn something about each other in this conversation. So I look forward to just growing more.
Awesome. Matthew.
And it's kind of gonna, I guess, sound weird or cliche, but that same thing. So I'm looking forward to actually going with her as well, because we weren't able to do that during a period of time. But we actually were able to do that one time thus far, and that was in Texas after we got married. And man, it was a blast. Like, we keep talking about how much we loved that, like, and how fun it was.
What was in Texas?
It was actually for a panel for relationships. It was like they were doing like relationship.
Ezekiel
like
and his wife were there.
Yeah.
It was just cool, like, to do like a couple thing, but like still be doing ministry and still like for people to see that, like, it's not like Matt has a ministry and Janette has a ministry. It's like, no, we're one, and we're completely supportive of one another, and we know that God has called us to do different things, but ultimately we have the same goal in mind, and we're completely supportive of one another, and being able to just, you know, when I'm able to be out on the track, it's awesome, and when he's being able to be out with me and we get to do that together, that's awesome too.
So yeah, in Texas it was that seminar. So it was real cool. So her and Ezekiel flew out together, and then me and Kiana flew out together. So it's just real cool, like a cool time. Once we got together, we had
got to have that trust though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't throw your man on the plane with another woman. Like, just like, you know what I'm saying, you got to have a lot of trust. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it was real good. So really looking forward to that. I would say that's my biggest thing is, you know what I'm saying, just getting a chance to like travel with her, see different places, be able to do different things. That's probably, I guess I would say, what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, man, and look forward to hearing great things about your marriage and them Perry Speed babies coming at you. No, I'm lying.
Yeah, he pointed at me. I'm like, what?
And you weren't intimidated by her vows, right? Cats want to know they was just, you got a long old vow. They wouldn't, you know, particularly thought you was cool.
See, so we switched places. So it's like she went long, I went short. So it's cool.
Okay.